So, have you ever caught yourself doing something and just thought, why? Why do I do that? Especially when I know I shouldn't. Well, today we're going to become cartographers of our own minds. We are literally going to draw a map that shows the hidden logic behind everything you do, so you can finally get the why behind the what. Let's dive in. You know that feeling, right? One part of your brain makes this awesome, productive plan for the day, and another part is, well, it's already deep into a social media rabbit hole. You decide you're going to tackle that big project, but procrastination just swoops in and wins again. It really can feel like you're a mystery to yourself. But what if I told you there's a system behind it all? A predictable one? So, how do we crack this code? The secret is actually pretty simple. We have to stop focusing on what we're doing and start asking why we're doing it. That's the big shift. We're moving from just, looking at our behavior to actually understanding it. And that right there is the first step from feeling confused to getting real clarity. And here is the idea that changes everything. Your behavior, even the stuff that drives you nuts, it isn't random. Not at all. It's actually the perfectly logical, totally predictable result of your own internal system. So if you can just understand that system, you can start to change the results. Okay, so where do we even start? Well, we have to become detectives of our own minds. We're going to start connecting the dots between what we do on the outside and what's really pulling the strings on the inside. Our beliefs, our values, and all those automatic thoughts we don't even notice. Really, this whole thing just boils down to changing one simple question. We are throwing out the old, totally unhelpful question, what am I doing? I mean, that just describes the problem, right? We're swapping it for the one question that unlocks absolutely everything. Why am I doing it? And the answer to that big why question, it almost always lives in one of these four places. See, our actions are built on a foundation of our core beliefs, the things we truly value, our unconscious thinking patterns, and our deep, deep emotional drivers. Think of these as the actual blueprints for how you behave. Now, to make sense of all this, we need a tool, a practical framework, and that's where this mind map comes in. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful way to take any behavior you have, break it down into its core parts, and see exactly what makes it tick. All right, let's build our first map, layer by layer. The top layer? That's the easy one. It's the behavior itself, the thing you can actually see and describe. For our example, let's use a super common one, constant distraction. Sound familiar? Okay, now we dig a little deeper. Layer 2 is the belief. Every single action you take is fueled by something you assume is true. So for our distraction example, the hidden belief might be something like, I need constant stimulation to feel engaged. And all of a sudden, that distraction doesn't seem so random anymore, does it? It's actually serving a belief. And right underneath that belief, we find value. This is what your mind is prioritizing, usually without you even realizing it. In this case, the underlying value is novelty over the repetition of doing focused work. See how it connects? The value feeds the belief, and the belief drives the behavior. And the final layer of our map is the thinking pattern. This is the mental habit that just completes the whole circuit. For our example, that pattern is seeking an immediate reward, which is exactly what a quick peek at your phone provides. And there it is. Now you see it, right? The behavior is the logical endpoint of a value, a belief, and a pattern all working together in perfect, frustrating harmony. The philosopher William James absolutely nailed this. He said, a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes. This map we're building, it's the tool to do exactly that. Once you understand your own beliefs and values, you get the power to consciously change them. And that, in turn, can change your entire life. But wait. We can actually go even deeper. I mean, where did these beliefs and patterns even come from in the first place? Let's go look at the original source code for our behaviors. This next level down is what we call the 6 degrees of why. Think of these like the ancient, deep roots of your behavioral tree. They don't just explain what your patterns are, but why they feel so automatic and why they have such a stubborn grip on you. So what are these 6 drivers? Let's run through them. The echo why, that's the beliefs you just absorbed from the world around you. The pattern why is that groove you've worn in your brain just from pure habit. The generational why, that's the stuff passed down your family line. The emotional why is driven by feelings from your past that shape your present. The existential why connects to your big search for meaning. And finally, the living why is the huge influence of your current environment. Let's make this real. Imagine someone has a deep fear of taking risks. That's not just some random personality quirk. Its roots might be an echo why. Maybe a parent who always said, play it safe. And it could also be a generational why, coming from a long family history that valued stability above all else. You can see how these deep drivers just stack on top of each other to create a really powerful behavior. So when you start putting all of these pieces together, the behavior, the belief, the value, the pattern, and those deep whys, something amazing happens. All that confusion and frustration you felt about yourself, it just starts to dissolve, and it gets replaced by this incredible sense of clarity. Let's look at a full map for a classic, procrastination. Okay, the behavior, delaying tasks. The belief that fuels it, I work better under pressure. The value underneath that, prioritizing short-term comfort over effort. The thinking pattern, waiting for that shot of adrenaline from a deadline. And the deep origin, probably a mix of a pattern why, it's just a habit you've built, and an emotional why, like avoiding the anxiety of starting a hard task. See? All of a sudden, procrastination isn't some moral failing. It's a system. It all just clicks into place. And honestly, this is the most important part. You can stop beating yourself up. You can stop blaming it on a lack of willpower or discipline. Instead, you can just look at your map and say, oh, of course I do this. It makes perfect sense based on my internal wiring. And that is the incredible shift from self-criticism to true self-awareness. You know, Aristotle was onto this thousands of years ago. This whole process isn't just some clever self-help trick. It's a genuine form of wisdom. The act of mapping your own mind is the very first step toward making conscious, real, meaningful changes in your life. So here's the bottom line. When you have the map, you can finally see the territory of your own mind clearly. You're not lost anymore. You're not just guessing. You are the map maker. So now, with this map in your hand, what path are you going to choose?